Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight to Healthy is the New Skinny. My name is Gloria Dollinger. I am a registered dietitian here at the Inwood Athletic Club. And I'm excited that you are joining us tonight and look forward to helping you move forward in your journey to become an active adult. As we know, as we live longer, it's not about the lifespan, it is about the health span and aging actively. So I'm hoping tonight that you learn a few tips that you can take away that will help you on your journey to live a long, healthy life. Thank you. All right, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. And today's topic is Healthy is the New Skinny. I'm Gloria Dollinger, and I'm here. I'm the registered dietitian at the Inwood Athletic Club. Also do nutrition coaching and personal training. And so we're going to go through the slides, and we do have an audience here this morning. So we may have questions from the audience, and we'll just kind of move through those as the program progresses. And at the end too, if you have more questions, please feel free to ask. So my first question for all of you is, what is being healthy mean to you? What is healthy to you? What do you want to be able to do if you're healthy?
For me, it's being able to get up, move around, and do things.
Okay, get up, move around, be able to do things. Okay, anybody else? No? Okay. Being healthy enables you to do what in your life? If you're healthy, think about in 10 years from now. What do you want to be able to do in your life? What do you see yourself being able to do? How do you want to get out of bed? How do you want to play with your grandchildren? How do you want to be traveling? Is that travel independently, getting out of your car, walking independently? Or are you going to need assistance? How do you see yourself as you age? Because how you eat, the activity you do now will impact those things in the next 5, 10, 20 years. So health, in a technical sense, is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, which means it can be about anything to all of you, okay? Because each of you may have a different understanding of what is well-being. And maybe how well you feel today doesn't mean you cannot feel better in a year, in 2 years, depending on what changes or behaviors you make now in order to feel better. So, in the health realm and the nutrition realm, it is now about the health span of your life, not just the lifespan. It's not about how long you live, it's how healthy you live that life. How long are you able to be independent? How long are you able to get out of bed without assistance? How long are you able to go for a walk without using a cane or a walker? How independently can you live? So how healthy is your lifespan versus just the lifespan you live? And so that's where the things you do now, your eating, your sleeping, and your activity will play a role. So today, there are more people over the age of 65 on the planet than there has ever been before. Life expectancy for anyone born in the United States now is about 81 years of age. It used to be in the 70s, okay? And now we know that people will live longer. We automatically know people are going to be living longer, so how is that life going to be lived? Life expectancy, if you get to age 65, it is thought that you will live about 20 more years. So once you get to 65, you got 20 more years minimum, or maybe more, to live. So how well do you want to live those lives? Those years, I should say. How well do you want to live those years? So, we know at 65, there are certain things that just start innately happening to the body as we age. There's certain timelines for certain things, and you'll see a few of those in this presentation as we move along. But we know normally as you age, your heart starts feeling a little more stress. So typically as we age, blood pressure does start to go up a little bit, okay? But again, you can stay active. You can maybe counteract that by the behaviors that you do. Bone loss starts at about age 40. We know that if you have more impact in your life, so if you're doing more impact activities, you will maintain your bone mass better than if you're somebody who sits more often. One of the things in the seminar that I took over the weekend, they looked at athletes in various sports, and people who played baseball and basketball had better bone density than a runner, because in those sports they are having impact not only on their feet but with their hands, and impact is what helps maintain bone density. Okay, and we do think about age 40 is when you have that maximum bone density, and it's then how you do things. Are you doing things that have impact? Maybe playing a little tennis. Allison and I were talking about when you're lifting, maybe doing things that have a little more impact. Maybe toss the medicine ball and catch it. That's going to have some impact on your hands. Doing some things that are going to help maintain that bone mass that you were able to accumulate by 40, and don't let it naturally go away. Muscle mass also decreases with age. And what also happens with that aging process is that you start getting more fat in the muscle. Okay? So that's a natural process that happens with aging. But again, exercising, strength training, watching the foods that you eat can help counteract that. Another thing, fat mass increases about 1 to 2 pounds per year, starting around, we think around age 50. Okay? Again, if you're not doing anything to counteract it, these are just natural things that happen with the body unless you are purposefully doing things to counteract that aging process. And then increase in visceral fat and a decrease in the peripheral fat. So what that means is increase in the fat that is actually around the organs versus the fat that you might have the little love handles. Okay, you might see an increase in that too, but automatically the body is starting to increase fat that is around the organs in the body. Okay, so again, increasing your risk for different types of diseases. So again, what can we do to counteract that and have a healthy lifespan? So, as I mentioned a little bit ago, it's staying active, eating healthy foods, and getting an average of 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. And that's a place too that I think a lot of times when it comes to health we don't talk about. We talk about the activity, we talk about the eating, but as the research is showing, sleep is so important for the body to recover. And having adequate amount of sleep to let that body do that, and the brain, the mind, it's so important to get that rest. And now that people are on their phones and having a lot more light in front of their faces, getting to sleep and staying asleep is much more challenging. So think about the behaviors you have before bedtime. Are you quieting down, maybe listening to a little better music that's more calming or soothing? So you get into sleep and you stay asleep. Okay? So think about that for yourself. Are you getting 7 to 8 hours a night? Okay? If not, what are some behaviors you can do to change that? So the first thing we're going to talk about here is activity. And what do we need to counteract all those things that the body is naturally doing to make us old? Okay? I don't want to be old. You know, I don't have any kids married yet. So I'm hoping someday they get married, and I'm hoping to have grandchildren, and I want to be able to play with them. I love skiing. I want to be able to go skiing with them. You know, so I got some time. I got to stay healthy, you know, next 20, 30, I'm hoping 30 years stay healthy. So you got to think, what can we do now in order to be able to do those things as we age? Regular activity. Again, when I say regular, what's different, I think somewhere along we say exercise. Exercise is planned activity, so you guys are great at coming to the gym, you're working out, but it also means you might work out an hour at the gym and sit all day. Well, that's not really the best thing to do. You need to have some activity in throughout the day so that you are active. You're getting up and out of your chair. You maybe go for a little walk. You're doing the laundry, doing gardening, doing things that have activity, get you moving. That's not just planned activity. So think about, what do you do? Once you're here and you go home, how does the rest of your day look? If it's a lot of sitting, think about what you can do to incorporate some activity, movement in that day. So we are saying we want to have about 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intense activity a day. So you could do that at the gym, you could come and walk. We know that that is good for the heart and good for that bone mass and muscle mass. If you don't like thinking about 300 minutes a week, maybe do 2 or 3 shorter high intensity workouts throughout the week. But it's the strength training portion as we age that is so important. And we are trying to really hone in on that with so many of our older members here at the gym, but also as we age, strength training, maintaining that muscle mass or improving muscle mass is so important, because if you stumble, if you fall, you have to be able to push yourself up. You have to be able to get off the ground. And how do you do that? Are you able to do that well? If you're not able to get yourself off the ground, then think about what are the steps you can do, maybe what exercises, do you need to start lifting more, do you need to start, again, it's not going into the gym and doing something so heavy you can barely move it, it's what are the steps that you need to do to get yourself a little stronger, okay? So you can also have regular activity, but also that planned activity of exercise. Right now we say people over 60, only 27% are actually meeting any kind of guidelines for health. We have a lot of people sitting around. We need to get moving. You need to encourage maybe a neighbor or a friend, maybe go for a walk with you. Get them out, get them moving. Inactivity increases your risk for cardiovascular disease, different types of cancer, and diabetes. And we know this because the more you sit around, and then a lot of times too, people are eating more, it increases your insulin production, which then can play havoc on metabolism and everything else that's going on in the body. And so keeping your insulin levels more at check, adding activity allows that to happen. So if you are not a big comer to the gym and working out for that 30 or 40 minutes consistently, there is research to show that periodic activity, so doing little bursts of 5-minute things 3 times a day, can also improve people's cognitive ability and their agility. So it's, again, getting up and moving around, doing the laundry, doing the gardening, raking, just little things do have an improvement. But again, what is your goal? What do you want to be able to do? That might get you minimally to a level, but if you see you are having some bit of decline, what do you need to do more? Okay, at age 70, we know for sure, no matter what you are doing, you might start seeing some decline, okay? So you want to still keep up the working out. I have a client right now who is going to turn 70, and he has some pretty hefty goals, and he is almost there. Last month when we did his InBody, very impressive the goals that he has and how he's increased his muscle mass, decreased his fat mass. He had a goal of getting his fat mass down, so he's probably going to be one of the few 70-year-olds I know that has a fat mass under 10%. Very lean but strong. We were able to get his muscle mass up, which is interesting to see, but what we did was we changed the timing of his eating and making sure he's getting enough. Okay, so muscle strength, and again, this is one of the key things as we are aging and want to have a healthy aging or a healthy lifespan, is maintaining muscle strength. And most of the people, when you see them starting with walkers or using a cane, a lot of times it's because they're losing muscle mass and muscle strength in their legs, and they're not able to keep that balance anymore. Remember too, your core is really where a lot of your balance comes from, so making sure you have a strong core and able to help you walk, all right? So after age 40, we innately start losing muscle. Muscle decreases about 1% per year, and that loss of muscle mass is called sarcopenia. And so how do we counteract that? By eating the right foods and by exercising. Muscle strength, so not only the size of the muscle decreases, but the strength within the muscle, unless you're doing something to counteract it, will decrease 2 to 4% a year. Okay? So muscle does respond to training and nutrition at any stage. Okay? So you can counteract it, but you have to do it. We can talk about it all we want, and we can take notes all we want, but we have to do it. It's the work that we put into it. So what are you doing? What do you think you can do better? When you think about how much you're working out, is your workout effective? Are you coming to the gym doing the same thing over and over and over and maybe not seeing any results? Do you need to switch it up? You need to fine tune it. What is your goal, and make sure your goal matches the exercise and the nutrition and the routines that you are doing. If they don't, come see us. Come reach out to us. We're happy to help. So, again, what can you do to live longer? Long-term aerobic activity equals maintenance of strength. And I put this in here because, again, find things that you love to do. Some people like to ride a bike. Some people, walking is one of the best things they can do because it gets you moving. A lot of times too, for most people, it gets them outside. They breathe fresh air. They get some sunshine. It allows people to take in the advantages of their surrounding, but just stay mobile. Train for strength and power. So one of the big things we are realizing, again, it is not just pushing the weight, it is having the small burst of energy. So I know my clients don't like it, but I am having them do little jumps in place. Again, working for power, small burst of energy, spurts, making them do things quickly. I might have them do a squat and they're catching a ball, tossing a ball. It's that power or that burst. We want to be able to move something if we have to quickly. Okay, so when we want to mix up the way we work out, and again, think about maybe not doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So maintain muscle with increase in protein intake. So this is something, especially as we're aging, and you'll see the protein requirements all over the map, but right now the research with as we get older, we are finding that the need for protein content increases. But it's not just the amount of protein, it's the quality of the protein, okay? And the next slide we're going to talk about it a little bit, but what we say is you need between 1 and 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, which kilogram can get a little bit confusing, but a kilogram is your pounds divided by 2.2, gives you your kilograms, or we say about 0.4 to 0.5 grams of protein per pound of weight, okay, is the minimum. If you're working out more, or if you have some kind of health, health history that may require you to have more, may require you to have less. But those are things based on your health history that we fine tune a little bit. But on the average, you need between 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Now, the main thing too is that we need it spread out throughout the day, not all at dinner time, not that big steak right at dinner. We need a little protein in the morning, we need a little protein at night, and we need some at dinner. 30 grams of protein is what I try to recommend my clients have at each meal. The body only utilizes about 30 grams of protein at a time, just the way the mechanics of the body works. If you put in too much protein at one time and the body doesn't need it, it will store that protein as fat, okay? So we don't need to be having these big mega doses of protein all at one time. Maybe a little protein before a workout, a little protein after the workout. Make sure you have some at lunch, make sure you have some at dinner, but not one clump at one time. And we'll talk a little more about that in just a second. So when it comes to protein, we want to make sure it's the quality of the protein. And so what we realized too is that you need to make sure you have certain amino acids that help muscle maintain its strength and its size. One of the amino acids that we're knowing now that we need to make sure we have is leucine. And again, if you're eating any of the foods that are listed here, such as chicken, beef, pork, most likely 100 grams is about a 3-ounce portion. You're going to get the right amount of leucine in that 3-ounce portion. But you can also find leucine in tofu, canned beans, milk, cheese, squash, pumpkin seeds, 2 eggs. So a lot of times in a salad, I may not have meat on it, but I always put some nuts and seeds to kind of get that protein content on it. So make sure your meals have a variety of things, but make sure you're having some protein. And when you're looking to build muscle, you want to make sure we're adding leucine or having proteins that have leucine in them.
And what does that do?
Leucine is just an amino acid that is important. You have 8 essential amino acids. Leucine helps build the muscle. Okay, so especially too when we exercise and if we're strength training, in order to get stronger, you have to actually tear the muscle. Leucine helps that muscle repair, and it's in the repairing of a muscle that you get stronger. Okay, so we need that amino acid available to help in that repair. And so too, that's why especially with elite athletes, timing of meals is so important, because especially right after a workout, we want to make sure that certain proteins, so we want to make sure they're having a high quality protein, either a supplement or a food right after the workout. So all those amino acids, those building blocks, are there to help the repairing of the muscle. Okay, that's the only way you get stronger is when you lift and you struggle and you'll get these little tears in your fiber. Okay, it's repairing that muscle that the muscle actually gets bigger and it gets stronger. So if you're lifting and you're not struggling by numbers 8, 9, and 10, well, you're never going to tear the muscle to have it get repair, to get stronger. So I know they say no pain, no gain. I get it. I don't want you to be in pain, but sometimes it's okay to be sore. It's in that soreness that you are probably having some repair going on within that muscle that you are then going to get stronger. Okay? So as we eat, and as we start thinking about how you eat, are you getting a lot of foods with color in them? We know also that the diet needs, I try to coach that people have at least a minimum of 5 vegetables and fruit a day. So show of hand in this room, how many people get at least 5 servings of vegetable and fruit a day? Okay, we have some work to do, okay? But nutritively wise, we really want 9 to 12 servings of vegetable and fruit a day. A serving of a vegetable is about a half a cup of cooked broccoli or a cup raw. A half of a banana is considered 1 serving. 15 grapes is considered a serving. So now start thinking about what you do. 6 strawberries is a serving, okay? You know, you can have a ton of lettuce. You know, lettuce doesn't have many calories. You got to go with your dark green, like your spinach, your kale, your arugula. All those have a little more oomph to them. But you can have 2 and 3 cups of lettuce to count as 1 serving. So, but what are you doing? Does your diet have color in it? Because those are the nutrients, those are the vitamins and minerals that you need every day to help keep you moving forward. So as we age, what we found is that the list here, vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin D, magnesium, calcium, fiber, vitamin K, and potassium, are all the nutrients that as we age, we find that people are lacking as a whole. And so what can you do? The easiest thing is just eat a variety of foods that have a lot of different colors in them. But also, so your vitamin A or vitamin C, your citrus foods. Vitamin A, dark orange and reds. Okay, carrots is like an easy one. Sweet potatoes. Okay, vitamin E is in your things like avocado, olive oil. Okay, it's a fat-soluble vitamin. Okay, but mostly found in vegetables, foods. Okay, vitamin D, sunshine, which in the Midwest we may not get a lot of sunshine, but is also fortified in a lot of foods, a lot of your dairy foods. So vitamin D, magnesium, and calcium are typically fortified in milk because they work together. They work together with the bone health along with phosphorus. But those 3, magnesium is also found in a lot of vegetables, dark green, spinaches, things like that. Calcium The most commonplace is in milk dairy products, but you can find it in green vegetables, a lot of different green vegetables. It's just not utilized by the body as well. Okay, so you do find it in bits and pieces and lots of other things, but we have to eat so much more of it to be utilized. Where milk and dairy products, it is being fortified in quite a few foods nowadays, that you can get enough. You need about 800 milligrams of calcium a day. A glass of milk has about 300. Yes?
Are you talking 2% milk?
Any of them.
Any milk?
Any milk. Yeah, the differences in the milks, the only change is the fat content, not the calcium, the phosphorus, the vitamin D, the magnesium in there. Yeah. Fiber, again, if you're eating a lot of vegetables and fruit, most likely you're getting the fiber you need. But we say between 25, and they're pushing the limits to say even up to 40 grams of fiber a day. I try to get my clients to get around 28 to 30, and that's rough, okay? So you really have to think about whole grains, eating the skin on the vegetables or on the fruit. That's where you're going to get your fiber in. Having I like grape nut cereal, so it's kind of a greeny, or a bran cereal right away in the morning, and that helps get a big chunk of that fiber in. Also remember, fiber helps move things along through the GI system. We want to have a good gut, but we don't want certain foods sitting in the gut for long periods of time. So having fiber helps move things along, kind of restores the GI as it moves things along. Vitamin K is a blood clotting factor, and that's in dark green vegetables. Again, as we age, a lot of times taste acuities change, and a lot of times the vegetables, because too they got a lot of people like them cooked, kind of go to the wayside. And so green leafy things like spinach and kale are good for your vitamin K. And potassium isn't like potatoes. And potatoes they get a bad rap these days, but a plain baked potato is okay to have, okay? It's usually the stuff that goes on top, okay? But think about, are you getting those 5 servings of vegetable and fruit every day? If not, that's a good place to start in order to improve the quality of the way you are eating, okay? So, right now there are all different types of eating plans. These are just a few that I wrote down because I'm not a big fan of diets as per se, a way of eating that you're only going to eat for a short amount of time and then you're going to change and go off it after a month or so. I am very like styles of eating in which you can eat them for the rest of your life, okay? So you want to eat in a way that you feel you can maintain your health, get healthier actually as you're eating, and live and follow that way of eating for the rest of your life. So DASH diet was designed really for heart, people with high blood pressure, heart disease. Mediterranean is a great style of eating. It increases the different types of fat in the diet. I'm not going to go through each one of these, but you can look them up. They allow you to have fun foods, but kind of watch the quantity, have a mixture. There's more emphasis on maybe fish and low saturated fat meats, but yet you still can have some meat or protein. You can work with any of these styles of eating and improve the quality of your life. Now, the one that is new that I have recently become aware of is called the Mind. It's a blend of Mediterranean and DASH, but is meant more for intervention for neurological degeneration, delay. So because as we are aging, we are finding that we are having many more cognitive issues with the aging process. As people are living longer, we're finding body is staying okay, but maybe the mind isn't. And so they are doing research on this Mind style of eating. So the Mind style of eating is a blend of, again, Mediterranean and DASH. Some of the main things, again, top thing, what is it? Green leafy vegetables, all other vegetables, 1 to 2 servings a day, okay? Next thing, berries, blueberries, strawberries, any kind of berries. Now, they are, again, minimally 2 servings per week. I think you can pretty much do that. Add some berries or strawberries, get that going in your diet. Nuts, because again, nuts have the monounsaturated fats in them, but also can provide a little bit of protein when you have them. So nuts, 6 walnuts. Who can't do 6 walnuts or some pistachios? I love pistachios. That's what I like to put on my salads. So using olive oil as your main cooking oil, okay? And I should put a little caveat here. We do need to watch how much, okay? We can't just, you don't want to see a lot of olive oil sitting in the bottom of the pan because you obviously put way too much. You want to drizzle it on just to give a little flavor to your foods, but not soak your foods in that. Whole grains. If you notice, whole grains. We're not taking bread out of the diet. We are encouraging a good quality of grain, 3 servings per day. 3 servings would be, if you have an English muffin, that's 2. I'm not saying an English muffin is whole grain. It would be more like couscous, quinoa, or we're looking for more of a specially sprouted bread that's more of a whole grain.
Or
Yeah.
is whole grains bread, then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would say some breads say they are made with whole grain. You need to look at the fiber content. If they have less than 3 grams of fiber, I would not consider them very whole grain-ish, a slice of bread.
I mean, generally speaking, if you go by white bread or wheat bread, I'm just saying those 2 common breads, I'll call them, but they aren't whole grain.
No,
bread.
they are not.
So you have to almost buy that whole grain bread.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would look, again, like I said, look at the fiber content. If it doesn't have, typically a slice of bread may have 1 to 2, if any, fiber. So you really want it to have 2 or more to really be a whole grain product. Meaning that they really did use whole grains in them. Now you'll have some, again, there's all styles of eating. I have also read more about some styles of eating who don't want you to have whole grains because they feel the whole grains do make tears in the lining of the gut. I'd rather, what happens is that I tell somebody not to have whole grains, but they'll still have a cupcake, and they still have cookies, and they still have, I'd rather them have whole grains than the junk food on the other end. So if I can give them a carbohydrate that lets them feel like they're having a good carbohydrate and it kind of takes that edge off, have a whole grain piece of bread and put a little not margarine, but put like the olive oil spread, or put a little avocado on a piece of toast that's whole grain toast. Oh, so good. Little tomato. Got yourself a meal. Okay. Fish, think about your fish content. Most of the patterns of eating that I show, DASH, Mediterranean, flexitarian, are incorporating more fish. Minimally here, we're saying 2 times a week, twice a week. It can be tuna. So if you don't want to go out and buy fish all the time, a can of tuna, have some tuna and have that, as a meal, or have half of it for one meal and have half the next day for lunch. Beans. Now this is a place where a lot of people I don't have a lot of clients who come to me and say, hey, I am eating a lot of beans. But this is something we can start incorporating when we're trying to take away the saturated fats out of food. So that's your red meats, your sausages, your bacons, we're trying to cut down on all that salty, fatty meat. Beans allow you to have some good quality protein without having that saturated fat content, okay? Poultry, again, they're only saying twice a week, along with the fish, so 2 times a week. And then wine, we say no more than 1 glass per day. And this, again, has to do mostly with red wine and the resveratrol that some research shows that it helps with the heart. If you're not drinking, I don't encourage drinking. But if you are drinking and you're drinking a lot more than 1 glass of red wine a day, you are beyond the benefit, okay? You might want to cut back a little bit, okay?
What, 2 things. What is that last word after wine? I've never heard of
Resveratrol.
What
That is the compound that is mostly in the skin part of the grape. That is the benefit, that gives the benefit. It's a antioxidant that has benefit for the heart.
So you're saying don't drink white wine?
There is a little bit in white wine, but not nearly as much as in the red grape. Yeah. Resveratrol too is in tomatoes. You get some in tomatoes.
And Gloria,
Yeah.
can you just let us know what is considered 1 glass?
Oh, I like like that.
Outside glass,
Okay, you know, 4 ounces, I wouldn't go more than 6.
Okay.
For your
Just
one
saying.
glass,
Yeah.
your one glass. Yeah.
Such a party food.
I know. Again, moderation in all things. I'm not saying you can't have 2 glasses occasionally. I'm just saying, again, where do you want to be in 10 years? Where do you want to be in 20 years? What are the things that are going to help you stay active, have a good life, and move forward? And again, remember, these are the guidelines for this mind eating, which is really looking at cognitive behavior and cognitive function. Yes?
I've read some things about good salmon and bad salmon. Is that important?
I just try to encourage people to have salmon. If you notice, some of them, if it's cooked with the skin, you have like a little fatty layer. You know, again, remember, those omega-3s are in the fat. It's up to you whether you want to eat that part or not. I just say get the salmon in. I don't get too particular on the brand or the kind, because most of my clients are barely getting 2 servings of fish in a week. So I want you to have the fish you like, trying to avoid fried. Fried fish, fried shrimp, fried fish kind of ruins the,
Bad time of year.
I know. Okay, have you had a fish fry? I love fish fries on Friday for Lent. You know, it's okay. Enjoy it then, and then maybe you go back to healthier after the holiday season's over. Okay? Okay, so all healthy styles of eating work with lifestyle and sustainability. It's about what you are doing and what now you can do to improve the quality of life. What can you add to what you're doing to do things better? There are just a few things that we do on every style of eating. Try to limit. It doesn't, I didn't say not have or no, it's limiting. It is the sugar content, because we know sugar really plays havoc with a lot of your cells. We know that sugar intake impacts the insulin levels, which then play a role in diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and different types of cancers. And so we are learning more and more about sugar and the impact it has on the body, basically because people went to a fat-free style of eating. And in that fat-free style of eating, people increase sugar in the foods to have taste. So we've gone away from eating fat-free, but eating fats that are good for you, okay? So when I say fats are good for you, more monounsaturated things that are more liquid at room temperature. Your polys and your monos, but most of your monos. The more solid ones would be avocado. It would be a good solid fat, okay? That is a monounsaturated fat is an avocado. And in your saturated fats, you want to limit, and those are the things that, like I said, are solid at room temperature. So again, when you look at a piece of steak, that fat in the steak, when it sits there, is solid. Think about that being solid in your body, causing havoc within the muscle of your body, okay? So we try to limit the solid fat and go more with your liquid fats, okay? And then choose nutrient-rich and fortified foods. Again, it's looking for foods that have lots of color, fiber, nutrients, vitamins, minerals in them, and not just calories, okay? Oop, am I not gonna? Okay. Genetics is not your destiny. And I want you to hit that hard. Genetics is not your destiny. Yes, we all have a genetic profile. It does give us tendencies, but we can do things to make changes in those tendencies, okay? So, energy needs, as you age, your overall energy needs decrease. But the greatest key is consuming adequate nutrients. It's not calories, it's nutrients. It's what's in those foods. The vitamins, the minerals, the fiber, the nutrients that are in those foods, having adequate amount of protein, and staying active, okay? That is gonna really help you have a healthy lifespan, okay? So think about, again, where you are and how you are doing, and what can you do to improve. Are you eating foods that maybe don't have a lot of nutrients, okay? Are you overcooking some of your foods so that you're cooking all the nutrients out of your foods, okay? Are you having fish at least twice a week, some kind of fish twice a week? Do you have any dark green vegetable during the week at all? Now, I do have a client who, because of certain GI issues, is not able to have any kind of raw vegetable. So it's challenging for her, but we make it do because she'll use low sodium products, or she will cook her foods a little more, so she gets a little bit of it, but it is a challenge. It is, and someone like that, that's where I would say a multivitamin supplement comes to play. I do encourage food first, but there are some needs that we have, and then you have to fill it in with different types of supplements. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
You touched on wine.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy beer once in a while, and I enjoy coffee once in a while.
Okay.
Or everyday coffee.
Yeah.
Any
Sure.
comments on
I'm
that?
okay. Coffee, we find actually has some good benefits. The caffeine in the coffee, for brain alertness, especially when working out. We also know that having a little bit of coffee before the workout improves people's ability during the workout, that improves their power with the force that they're able to do the work with. So I try to limit coffee intake to no more than 1 to 2 servings a day or in the morning. Know your timing so that you doesn't impair sleep patterns for at night time.
So stay away from caffeine in the evening.
I would recommend that.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you want to say something?
What's considered one serving of coffee? Because cups come in different
Big
sizes.
sizes, yeah. We usually say a caffeine, 200 to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. So more about the caffeine content of the pour than the pour. So, yeah.
I don't know if this is true, but I learned somewhere, I think at Disney World, that there's more caffeine in the lighter blends than in the darker coffee. Is that true?
You know, I don't really know that
Okay.
per se. I haven't studied that enough to be able to
Okay.
answer that. I'd have to look
It's
that up.
surprising me.
And there might be, I do think there's probably differences in blends because of the different styles of beans and the content of the beans, but I don't know if there's enough
Okay.
to be a big difference. So, I can't answer that.
You
Yeah.
mentioned vitamins. Is that a good supplement? I mean, if you don't get all these greens and fish?
If you are nowhere near getting 5 servings of vegetables and fruit a day, I would probably consider taking just a basic multi, okay? But again, I don't know what kind of medications you're on. You know, I try to be careful in making just a blanket recommendation for any kind of supplement because some things may counteract with medications. And so I think I'd have to ask a little more questions about that. But if you already know that you're not, you know, you're pretty low on things, having a basic multi is probably okay. I just want to,
What about the new, those gummies, those new, what's in it?
yeah. The gummies really came out to get kids to have a vitamin. And so now they have them in adult brands. I mean, it is a way of taking them. The main thing is though, they are sugar. There's sugar in those. So do you really, if you can swallow a pill, I would probably just recommend swallowing the
I'm
pill.
talking about the new, what is it, vinegar?
Oh, the apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar.
You know, that came along to help gut health, okay? And I know there are some brands with gummies that are pretty popular right now. I don't have enough research to be able to say if there's a true benefit or not of that product or products that are like that. I don't know. There's not a good study to say that.
I think they say it suppresses your appetite.
That's what I have heard, yep. I don't know. I don't know that for sure, yeah.
I guess I didn't know or hadn't thought about an earlier slide where you indicated that your blood pressure rises as you age. Here I would think that when you get to be our age, and you're 70 or whatever, you're not working anymore, your kids are gone, you don't have any of that stress, your blood pressure should be
Yeah.
lowering, should it not?
It could be, but you gotta remember your heart is a muscle. And if your body, again, I'm saying
Is it
if you
just
did
because
nothing,
You've used your heart for 70 years?
and again, it's starting to age.
Okay.
It's gonna become not as strong. You might have more fattiness within the heart so that it doesn't work as efficiently, okay?
Well, and I think your arteries and veins aren't as elastic as, I mean,
Correct.
as you age, you're gonna lose some of that elasticity just from in the aging
Yeah.
process,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, and two, and that's why staying active, moving, making that heart work. I tell my clients the heart is a muscle, just like the biceps and the triceps and your quads. You know, you need to work it too. So having a little burst of little things that get that heart rate up as far as purposeful exercise is okay to work that muscle, making sure you recover properly. Yep. But it's again, one of those natural parts of aging, if you don't do anything to counteract it. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate everybody's time today, and I look forward to, if you have more questions, let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Gloria.